he's very Turkish cinema, a very well-known film historian, and he is also the editor of this rather fine book, which came out of an event which he organized in Istanbul back in 2018. Seems like a long time ago, another world. But the book is a very interesting record of some of the contributions made during that time. And it's a fine book from Constantinople University Press. I strongly recommend it. It's a book that tries to take stock of, realistically, the condition of film archives in the present world, and especially archives that are not the big metropolitan archives, as it were. A good book. After Nezih's talk, there's food. You can't not have not noticed that thanks to Yunus Emre, we're very grateful indeed that there will be refreshments at half time, as it were, and you're encouraged to make the most of them. Authentic Turkish snacks, I'm assured. But after that, that'll be about 15 minutes or so. After that, we have a program of early films of Istanbul, which will be accompanied by Sigdim Baru. I'm good. Borcu. Yeah, my Turkish is less than non-existent, as you will realise. Sigdim is a pianist of considerable distinction. She's made a number of albums, and she's also accompanied a number of early films. She's going to be accompanying the program afterwards. So, Nezih, the stage is yours. Welcome.
Thank you, Ian. Thank you, Matthew. And I also want to express my gratitude to Yunus Emre for their generous support. Okay, what is so interesting about the coming of cinema to Istanbul? Istanbul, towards the end of 19th century, that was the time when cinema was invented. It was the third largest European city. Maybe it was the first in terms of diversity. By diversity, I mean Istanbul was multinational, multilingual, multi-ethnic, many things. So, for instance, Lady Montagu, the wife of the British ambassador in the 18th century, she wrote in her memoirs that 15 languages were spoken in Pera district. And also there were lots of people of various ethnicities working together in her household. Alex Murray, he describes Istanbul as offering the greatest archive of encounters. So I find that very useful, archive of encounters. Byzantine, the encounter of Byzantine and Ottoman, East and West. For instance, the famous Orient Express, it used to depart from London, stop over at Paris, many European cities, and then it used to terminate at Istanbul. So, encounter of East and West, and also finally the encounter of cinema and Istanbul. So that encounter actually gives us a story of modernization. Now, that's a story from the Ottoman point of view. I cannot tell you the whole story, of course, so I'm not capable of doing that. Also, we don't have the time. But I'm going to try to give you some highlights. So my presentation will be a bit patchy. In 1896, Henri Delavalle, a French painter, a post-impressionist painter, friend of Gauguin and Pissarro, came to Istanbul from Paris. He came to Istanbul together with his wife, and he brought with him a cinematic device, a projector. There is a bit of mystery there because he calls it cinevitograph, but then it turned out that no such device existed. I asked Laurent Antonin of Cinematheque, French Cinematheque. I mean, he's an expert of cinematic devices. He, confirmed that it didn't exist anyway. But he claims, Delavalle claims that it was an American projector which was much better than the Lumière cinematograph. We don't know yet. But obviously he also brought some Georges Méliès films with him. And he showed Méliès films. And he placed an ad in a French-English newspaper published in Istanbul. As you can see, the ad is composed of 4 languages: Turkish, French, Greek, Armenian. And here we see that live photography, live, animated projections, animated. These are emphasized, and there's no mention of cinema because in 1896 the word cinema was not very well established. So also exhibitors, film exhibitors, perhaps used to prefer to use photography as a point of reference because people were, familiar with photography, but not cinema. But what kind of photography? Live photography. What kind of projection? Animated projection. So we have it all here. But also there's a reference to Paris, spectacle, marvelous striking spectacle which stirred all Paris. So it also gave the Istanbul audience a point of reference again, Paris. So, you will be watching films that have been watched by the, Parisians some time ago. So, so the Istanbul audience would identify with the, audiences of Paris. I'm watching a film that has been watched by the Parisians a while ago. This first screening took place in Pera, the European district of Istanbul. Today it is Beyoğlu. The name has changed. So here we have a map. The red line gives us Grand Rue de Pera, today Istiklal Road. Sponek, the purple shaded area, gives us the first venue of screening, Sponek Brasserie or beer house. It was a very famous venue. And also on the left-hand side, we have Pera Palace Hotel, the yellow shaded area. The passengers of Orient Express, they were transported from the Sirkeci train station to Pera Palace. Actually, the hotel was built for the Orient Express passengers. Now, I understand Dalawale was a very, smart businessman, and he, because he moved his business 2 months later, he moved his business to a less European venue, Café Feyziye. Café Feyziye was very well known with its Ramadan night entertainments, and also with shadow play shows. And the thing is, Dalawale introduced cinema as a Ramadan night entertainment. So that made cinema embraced by the local people more easily. Now, Ramadan night entertainments. Now, the major three forms of entertainment, in addition to musical attractions, orta oyunu, a version of Commedia dell'arte, meddah, a version of stand-up comedy, and Karagöz, a shadow play. And now cinema is added to them. This is Café Feyziye. This is an illustration which represents a typical Ramadan night entertainment. So we see some Ottoman gentlemen wearing fez and women coming and going. Gaslight is being used. There is no electricity, no city grid yet. So the screenings were a bit smelly. The venue smelled of gas. So people complained about that. A Turkish writer makes a very interesting remark about Şehzadebaşı, that the new world sitting in the same chair with the ancient Asia. So this district brought together modernity and tradition. This is another illustration by the same artist, but there are lots of errors, inaccuracies. Even the direction of the train arriving at the station is wrong. I always want to discard this slide, but one part of this illustration makes me go to it again and again. Two men in the audience, they are not looking at the screen. They are, particularly this man, is looking at the projector. And we can see that he is astonished, because the first reaction, the first emotional thing, the first emotional response of the audience is that they were astonished, because they were seeing still images coming alive, suddenly coming alive. Imagine that this keyboard began to move by itself suddenly. We would all be astonished. So this is what the early film viewers experienced, astonishment. He was astonished, okay, but what I find more interesting and more significant is that he's looking at the device, the source of the moving images. That I find very, very important, because today we are very much used to looking at the screen, at the film alone. We don't worry much about the source of those images, the projector. Now, a colleague of mine interviewed traveling exhibitors, and this man a projectionist used to show films to nomads, Yörüks, in the Taurus Mountains. So during the screening, he kept telling to the Yörüks, nomads, don't look here, because they were looking at the projector. Don't look here, look at the screen, watch the film, not here. But I understand them, because, you know, they wanted to see the whole thing, you know, the whole thing. But we have lost it today. But in the early screenings, the projector was in the audience. But later on, it was, you know, moved back and into a projection booth covered with, you know, concrete walls with iron door, invisible. I mean, like, you know, the Marxist conception, capitalism puts forth the product and conceals the, you know, process or means of production. Fragmentation causes us to, you know, experience the product alone. Another point I want to make is the speed of early screenings were not quite okay, 16 frames per second. So the movements were very jerky, and also the light coming through the projector, it caused flickering. So, and flickering caused eye strain. So that also in turn caused the attention span became very short. Therefore, it was impossible to make very, very long films. Like, you know, today we go to the movies to watch films of 2 hours, 3 hours maybe. That was impossible in the early screenings. They felt, I mean, people used to feel very tired when they came out of movies. Now, a writer, a very famous Turkish writer, was present in the first screening at Sponek Brasserie, and he uses this term, epileptic fit. I mean, the jerky movements of the you know, bodies. Another writer, Refik Halit, he was present in the first screening at Cafe Feyziye, and he made a step further and he described it as a you know, European kind of spasm. I mean, people were, you know, making these weird, you know, gesticulations, frantic gesticulations. But what I find more interesting is that the audience adopted those gesticulations. They mimicked what they saw on the screen, and when they went out into the street after the screening, they were, you know, making jerky movements, and the people waiting on the street for the next screening, they were surprised to see these men, you know, making all those weird things. So now, I have already, you know, mentioned the initial experience of the audience astonishment. Astonishment is a term, a concept devised by film historian Tom Gunning. And next to astonishment, I want to offer another concept, hayret, a concept in Turkish. Hayret means to marvel at, to be in amazement. So I believe in Istanbul, the film audiences experienced a kind of hayret. amazement, to be amazed at a miraculous event or happening. Now, Hayret has a very long history, not only in the history of religion, but also in the history of art. For instance, in this miniature, we see the Prophet of Islam, and these men, non-believers, they come to the Prophet and they say, okay, you claim that you are God sent, you are, giving us the messages of God, but how should we believe you? I mean, if you're telling the truth, then, just perform a miracle. And then he points at the moon. That face is actually the moon, and splits the moon into two. Therefore, I mean, he performs a miracle. And these non-believers, having seen this, having witnessed this miracle, they they experience hayret. They marvel at this miracle. And this guy is biting his finger. This is how hayret is expressed in traditional arts, Eastern or Ottoman visual arts. So this is called hayret finger. The index finger is called hayret finger. Actually, this is an expression we still use in Turkish. For instance, the famous football player scored 4 goals and made his fans bite their fingers. It's very popular, actually. Now, I just want to carry this experience over to cinema. Now, the audience of Istanbul, they were when they were watching a film, they were marveling at the achievements of science and technology. So there is a degree of secularism here. I mean, the religious aspect, it's it has faded a little, not absolutely, not quite, but now science and it is more or less replaced by science and technology. So because cinema was a cutting edge technology at that time. And newspapers of the period supports my argument, because I observed that over and over again the newspapers repeatedly use the term hayret. I mean, you will be amazed by watching this film. You will bite your finger. You will be in awe. You will marvel at this picture. It's a very widely and frequently used term, hayret, to describe the experience of the audience. Now, I got it. I actually got hayret from the Ottoman historian Cemal Kafadar, who offers it to begin to understand Ottoman way of seeing. So I take that as an invitation and adapt it to film history, but there's still work waiting to be done, So I now want to come back to this illustration. Here again, the Ramadan night, and we now see two adverts. I have shaded them. Here we have cinema, and we have here Karagöz. So on the same night, cinema and Karagöz, I mean shadow play, they are advertised side by side. Hence the new world staying in the same chair with the ancient Asia. Now, cinema received a very warm welcome in Istanbul, and one of the several reasons might be the shadow play, because I have the hunch that Karagöz might have served as a precursor to cinema. Also, Karagöz uses hayret extensively. It has some Sufi origins. The legend has it that a Sufi sheikh, a Sufi leader, invented the shadow play, and it resembles cinema to a great extent. So that might enable the audience to, adapt to cinema more easily. So we have an illustration here showing the audience enjoying, in the olden times, enjoying a Karagöz show, and it's not much different than a film screening. So cinema is also a rival to shadow play. It was also a threat, and Karagöz, the shadow play, immediately, grasped the threat coming. So it responded to cinema, and in one play, The Gardener, Karagöz goes to the movies, and during the screening, since it's dark, he falls asleep, and then or daydreams, and when he opens his eyes, he sees a house on fire, and he runs to the screen to put out the fire, and he destroys the screen, and they stop the projection. They have to, and beat him up. The thing is, at the end of each Karagöz play, Karagöz destroys the screen. There is some sort of Brechtian thing about that, and this time he destroys the film screen. Now, let us go back to the pioneers of cinema in Istanbul. We have seen how Henri de la Vallée did the first screenings, but the man who established cinema as an institution, as a commerce, as a business, is Zygmunt Weinberg, a Polish Jew, Romanian citizen, but he was based in Istanbul. He was on very good terms with the Sultan, with the dignitaries, with the government. He was also a representative of Pathé, Kodak. He had shops selling photographic equipments and raw film. Here we have an illustration of him. That's not a film camera, that's a photo camera. This was done before cinema was invented. But as we can see, there's a train coming again. So I think as far as photography and cinema are concerned, trains arriving, coming and going, it's an obsession. I mean, they for a very long time, the film historians argued that a train arriving at a station was the first film made ever, which is not true. But you know, the wheels turning, revolving, rotating. I mean, maybe it resembled cinema in a way. Maybe that's why they are obsessed with trains. So also, Zygmunt Weinberg did another thing. He opened the first cinema-specific venue for Pate. So it's very, you know, it's nearby Sponek, that red shaded area. He rented this venue from the municipality. This is a garden. Today we have Turkish radio and television here instead of this theater building. And the first Pate Cinema Theater was opened in 1908. This is still here because they got electricity from Pera Palace, because there was no city grid then. The electricity, the power thing was, the problem was solved individually. They used to purchase dynamos. So this is the interior of Amphi Theatre. And now the projector was moved back and made invisible. This is the program of the first screenings. The whole projection, I mean, the whole show was divided into 3 parts, each part opening with some musical piece. And it wasn't very long. I mean, I guess each part took about 15 minutes. So, I mean, in total, 45 minutes to 60 minutes, maybe. Now I want to show you how cinema spread across Istanbul very quickly. Well, that red dot, it represents the Sponek beer house. So it moves to Şehzadebaşı. So you will see that a line is emerging. That's Grand Rue de Pera. And you must bear in mind that it was a time of wars, economical problems. I mean, the Ottoman Empire, it went bankrupt. But cinema never slowed down. It always, you know, went up. Istanbul, it's occupied now, but it's still going up. Actually, for some reason, because the British officers, the French soldiers, they brought lots of money. So they spent all their money in entertainment, alcohol, prostitution, and cinema. At some point, after the novelty period is over, we observe a transition from, as the filmic experience, we observe a transition from hayret to verisimilitude. By verisimilitude, I mean, it's not real, but it looks like real. So there's an emphasis on looking like real. And a film's success is measured by its power to deceive us into its reality. And that's called, in the jargon of film studies, suspension of disbelief. Newspapers They used material from European newspapers as well, but these two pieces published in La Moniteur Orientale, a French newspaper published in Istanbul. One of them, for instance, tells the story of an old playboy who fell in love with the girl in the film. The girl played in the film The Gypsy, and he told his friend that after the screening, I will wait outside for her and I will ask her out to dinner. So the film was so real that the poor man was not able to differentiate what is real and what's not. That's the idea. Another point, there is a growing demand for voice, because at some point storytelling became central to films. Therefore, we see bodies, we see lips moving, but we don't hear anything, no speech coming out of the mouths. So there is a dissatisfaction with lack of speech. So the newspapers repeatedly emphasize this dissatisfaction. And finally, so far I talked about the viewers' experience, cinema going and all that, but I want to say a couple of things about the camera itself strolling in the streets of Istanbul. I mean, there are lots of things to say, to touch upon, but I'll do just two. Now, here in one scene, we see this woman veiled, and there's a cut, and we see the same woman now unveiled, her veil removed. Most probably, this is a non-Muslim woman impersonating a Muslim woman, veiled Muslim woman. And I guess Edward Said would find this very symptomatic in the sense that, it in a way represents the West's strong desire to know the other, in this context, the Orient, and to remove the veil of a woman is a way of knowing her, thus Orient. So that's why I find that very symptomatic, unveiling the Orient. Another point which I find actually much more interesting is that we see young people gathering around the camera. They are seeing a camera for the first time in their lives. They are looking at the camera, and the camera is looking at them. First, they stand still, thinking that it's a photo camera, and then they realize that it's actually a film camera, so they begin to act. They begin to act. For instance, this young man is he's very funny. He's making faces, and in the second, we see two kids. One of them is holding a piece of paper. Maybe it's his ID. Maybe it's a document which he's very much proud of. But he's showing off. So here, these people are staging themselves for the camera. And in a way, I kind of observe a playful alienation, because they split their subjectivity into subject and object. I mean, they are the subject of their acts, yet they are presenting themselves as an object of for the camera. So I think this is also a crucial moment in the history of modernization. So what happened This is the end of an era. We observe the rise of nationalism. Then in 1923, the Ottoman Empire is, officially, ended, and the Turkish Republic was founded. Ankara is the new capital, which means that Istanbul is no longer the capital. The demographic composition changes. Muslim refugees floods because of the wars, ongoing wars. Non-Muslims depart. Şehzadebaşı, where the second screening took place, it disappeared, and Pera was still a center of attraction until recently, but that's altogether another story. Thank you for your patience. Thank you.
Is he gonna survive all those hours?